and bring in little. You eat, but do not have enough. You drink, but you are not filled with drink. You clothe yourselves, but no one is warm. And he who earns wages to put in a bag with holes. Thus says the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Isn't that something? Consider your ways. You know, oftentimes we talk about this. This is just an introduction. The series is rebuilding the ruins. And the thing of it is, many times we consider when we come into Christ that we are blessed, that we receive the plan of salvation, we're glad to be in Christ, but we don't understand the responsibility on our part when it comes into being in Christ. That that hey, we're not just here to just sit still, but we have to continue to consider our ways. Because there are times when we can allow our minds to, we're like sheep, and sometimes sheep get lost, from time to time. Guess what? You still loved by God, but there's sometimes we have to continue to consider our ways, our thinking. We still have to filter out certain things. God's not going to stop you from watching TV, but at the same time, you're not going to receive what God is showing you by watching too much television. And if I want more of God, I got to release certain things and consider my ways. Let me tell you something. Eating and drinking, everything in this Bible, he talks about all that you're able to do, all of your capabilities. Guess what? All of them, God's not going to stop you from eating, He's not going to stop you from drinking, He's not going to stop you from doing any of these things. But the purpose behind you doing these things can only come from God. Your true satisfaction will only come from God. And I realize that your fulfillment, your completeness can only come from God. And that's what he's telling these people. Sometimes we can, see, they came out of 70 years of captivity at this point, but you have to realize they were in a mental captivity. Because guess what? You can be in a different place, but your mind can be at the place, you can be out of prison, but your mind can still be in prison. So what happens is sometimes we allow our minds to be in captivity in terms of only focusing our attention on our own self-effort versus the grace of God in which we come into when we declare that Jesus Christ is Lord of our lives. See, the whole idea is He has to increase while we decrease. When you consider your ways, there's nothing wrong with watching television, but I have to make certain sacrifices to continue to give more of me to Him. And sometimes it seems uncomfortable. Just like when you go on a diet and you stop eating certain foods that you like to eat, guess what? That craving is going to come for a season. So, but at the same time, you got to realize and have enough faith inside to know that, hey, even though I'm craving this physically, I'm growing spiritually. I'm still pressing. I'm still pressing. And guess what? I heard a preacher say this. Just because you get an attack of fear doesn't mean you possess fear. Just because you get an attack from the enemy of fear, depression, and anxiety doesn't mean that you have that spirit. What you're doing, why do you think obsession, I'm not hate to say obsession, why do you think these things come at you? They come at you many times because you're going in the right direction.
Jesus.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes.
So what he's saying is we got to consider our ways.
Jesus.
I'm rebuilding the ruins.
Yes.
What am I saying? Now, this is for somebody. God is rebuilding you not to compete with the splendor of your past. God, and I use this expression, God is not rebuilding, He's not remaking Solomon's temple, He's rebuilding His house.
Jesus. Jesus.
See, we try to compare the life, the fun we had before we came into Christ, right? And we think that we want to have that same fun once we come into Christ. But what we got to realize is that God is making a new creation. Not to be compared to the past, to the old person. Many times the devil will bring thoughts of the good times of the past to to get you to try